Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
What's up, Trojan family? It's Friday. You know what that means? It's another episode of Conquest Call-In Show, where you guys, the fans, the Trojan family, you guys are the stars of the show. Do us a favor. Come on in. We want to hear you guys sound off. Tell us what you're thinking. I'm starting it like we always do with maybe we have a couple of topics that we're going to cover, and then you guys fill from there. A couple of big things. I'm asking all of you guys, and I want to ask you guys two things. Please have your score ready. I want to know your prediction for the game. Also, I want you guys to tell me, is this a must-win for USC football? And secondly, is this a must-win for the program and Lincoln Riley? This could be a lot of people are asking that question. Also, did you guys hear what the Big Ten said? We'll cover that as well. Apparently, the rules don't apply to everybody, all members within the Big Ten. So we'll get this started. We have the first caller. Hello, caller. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening, Tim. This is Caden the Man. That's right, Caden the Man, live from YouTube from Columbus, Ohio. How you doing, Tim?
We're doing good. By the way, sorry, I got jumped in too quickly. Joining me today is Preston. Preston, really quickly, let everyone know where they can find you.
How you guys doing? Preston Paradise on YouTube, Fight on Preston on Twitter, covering the program, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
And then tomorrow night, you guys, tomorrow afternoon, Preston is going to be starting off our post-game show. I'll be at the game at the press conference right after the game. Though I'm going to join Preston, and we will be taking your live calls. We will not be able to take phone calls, but we will be taking StreamYard calls. So you guys, if you take the link, we'll put the link out there. You can join us and you can share your thoughts on the game as well. So, but let's go ahead. So thank you, Preston, for being here.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Caden the Man. Yes, Ohio State fan. What are your thoughts on? Remember, Caden, the rule here. What are your thoughts on USC football?
Yeah, Tim. Thank you for the reminder and greetings, Preston.
Yes, sir. Greetings.
And
greetings.
USC football. Let me think about that. Yeah, USC. They've been kind of on the edge the last couple of weeks, and then now they're going to be tested by Penn State, and it's going to be at Penn State, isn't it, or is it at USC?
So the game's at USC.
At the Coliseum.
USC is a home dog in the game. I believe it's 4.5 now, or well, it depends. Either 4.5, 5.5. Depends on when you got in on this thing.
It's a 4.5-point game against Penn State at home.
That's right. USC has shown that their offensive line has been shaky, and they're playing great defense. But one of the bad themes we've had on this season is USC is just not able to get away from these explosive plays they're killing them. They're playing good defense overall, but they just cannot get rid of that explosive play trouble they've had since the first game of the season.
Dang. And I thought USC with Lincoln Riley, they were going to fix their problems as soon as they were going to do their whole coaching staff shenanigans over the last year. But I'm like, clearly not. They haven't fixed their offensive line nor their defensive line. Yes. They need to start fixing their team in order for them to start winning games, because they know there's going to be some serious problems coming on their schedule.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be a lot of that. All right, listen, Gaten, thanks again for calling in. Appreciate you as always. Calling in from Columbus, Ohio. They are making difference. I'm not sure if you saw what our defense looked like 2 years ago or what our offensive line looked like last year. So it sounds like you didn't even know USC was playing at home this week. We appreciate you calling in, but we're looking for people that want to talk USC football. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Caden. Have a great weekend. You guys got a big game tomorrow. Good luck to you guys. All right. Well, that's 2 weeks in a row. Caden just can't really get on track about this whole idea. You guys, this is the USC Call-In Show. Maybe I should pop it up here with the phone number. We got some of the old school people calling in who know the phone number by heart. And this one is here, a very special guest, one of my favorite guests, Gary from Dana Point. Gary, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing fine. I'm actually calling you from the site of my grandson's football game. I didn't realize you're going to be on early, so I was hoping to catch you guys. As I always have a little anecdote or something, but This guy goes into his doctor's office. He's really concerned about his condition. He talks to the doctor. Doctor says, "What's going on?" He said, "Listen, it's crazy. I have a wife and 2 teenage kids, and every time I go home, I lose 20 IQ points." And that is kind of how I feel about all that I've been listening to for the last several months about USC and what I was hoping to think I knew. It doesn't look like I knew much of anything, because I thought we would have some little it factor going for us. And what I saw was, the same old thing that I've been seeing for a long time, a ton of mistakes, lousy play calling. And I noticed from the sideline, this is just an observation, and I don't know everything. I just tell you what I see. The Minnesota coach, Fleck, this guy looked like a general. He looked like he was in charge, and he was going to go places. And Riley looked just lost. So I guess what I'm asking is this it with Penn State? Is it do or die for us?
Well, go ahead. I'll let you start that, Preston. I mean, I am not be that dire, Gary, but
I do believe this is as close as a must win as it can be for us this year. I feel as urgent and as anxious as I did going into the LSU game at the start of the season. A lot is on the line here, right? Like everything that we saw that was positive through the first couple weeks of the season is kind of all been wiped away in the eyes of the national media. But then again, we have to be fair, right? Through the first few weeks, everything that we've been talking about this summer, all of our hopes and dreams seem to have come to fruition. But at this current point in the season, this is a completely different team as it was even going into that Michigan game. So, we're still hanging in there. We got the number 13 pass defense in the country. So that's a bright spot, but we've dealt with some attrition, and we've dealt with a lot of, self-inflicted things that have affected, the progress of the season that we thought we might have had this year. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely a must win and a very important game for not the program, but also Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, must win. I'm going to stop you guys are both seeing as must win. I'm stopping just short of that. Now, it's a must win if we want to even consider a thought of playoffs, but do the sound drop on playoffs with Mora. But at this point, we got to see if we have a team that really can win out, because what we've seen, and I talked about it, Gary, I know you were around when I did it. I said initially 9-3, and I said, here's why 9-3. I mean, I can see a couple of road games that I see us possibly dropping. And I did say that in the beginning. But then I also walked it back and said, you know what? I don't know what it is, but this is going to be a long season, physical season, and football's a game of attrition, and we're going to have some injuries. And that third game, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be a game where USC's banged up, and because they're not at 100%, I said, I'll take our 22 over their 22, but I'm worried about our depth. The part I got wrong here, Gary, is I didn't know that was going to happen in game 5 in Minneapolis. I was thinking down the road, either at home against a Notre Dame or on the road somewhere like up in Seattle, where the injuries would rack up. But let's face it, Eric Gentry, arguably our best player, most likely our best player, definitely our best linebacker playing on the team at the time, it goes down. Bear Alexander, while he was not a starter, he was putting in reps, and if you looked at it, he was in late in games, and he was able to give us some valuable reps at the end of the game. If you look at both these last 2 games, our 2 losses, at the end of the game, there were tired dudes out there. There wasn't a lot of depth, and you could use that depth against Minnesota. We had Bear on the field against at the very end against Michigan, but that depth is gone now. And so now, as the injuries have racked up, we're starting to see losses, and it looks like they're tired at the end of the games. And that was my fear, is that there are too many reps for guys. The injuries are mounting up, and we lost a couple. I just didn't think that we were going to lose a game again. The random game to attrition that I sadly predicted earlier in the year. I didn't think it'd be in Minnesota, and I didn't think it was going to be this early in the season.
Well, I can say, Jim, I remember your comments, and I thought everything you said was reasonable, and I think so now. One last thing, or one point to ask you and your guest, Preston. What about the USC offense? It just seems like we are stagnant, predictable, and don't seem to be either utilizing the talent we have, or maybe our talent's not that good. Any comment about that? Then I'll hang up, because I'm at a stadium now, and there's a big tractor behind me. I'll try to hear you.
Yeah, no worries. Offense starts in the trenches. Defense starts in the trenches. Offensive line is still is still a work in progress. I was fooled by what the coaching staff said in the spring and into the fall, and then watched that LSU game. And like I've been saying, I got way over my skis. Thinking, here we go. We've solved this. Okay, cool. Now we got to deal with what's going on defense. Get rid of the explosive plays. We'll be fine. Well, no, it wasn't. It was fool's gold. I was completely wrong. The offensive line, the tackles, kind of. It just seems like I was excited about Elijah Page in that bowl game. He's played well. He played well. Last game he played well. Alani Noah came a long way in the last game as well. But we're still having some issues on the edge, and as we're all going to agree and talk about in a minute. Those guys on the edge that'll be rushing are going to be a big difference compared to what we've seen so far.
Yeah,
any thoughts on the offensive line?
Listen, I'll give you my score. I'll give you my score prediction, and you can determine whether I need to go see that doctor or not. But I got USC 27, Penn State 17. So I haven't given up.
I love it.
Talk to you next week.
Thank you, Gary. Really close to what I think too, as well. All right. Right on. Preston, what are your thoughts on the offensive line?
No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's just the truth, right? I mean, we have great weapons on this team. Like we always say, man, I wouldn't trade these guys for any other guys in the country. But up front, I mean, you can't get these weapons the ball if you snap the ball and there's guys in your face in 1.5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the reality of it, man. Everything starts up front, and if you don't have that right and secured, then you're not going to be able to advance the ball down the field and score points. So,
yeah, and that stat. 1 minute, please. Hold on a second. We'll get right to you. Okay. That stat, as far as I've heard it batted around by a couple different sources now, where guys are getting to Miller in just a little over 2 seconds, and apparently Penn State's getting the quarterbacks faster than anybody else. So you put those two things together, you definitely gonna have to see Riley get very, very creative. You're gonna have to do some mass protect, but then again, like Gabe said on Trojan Blade. It's not like our receivers are getting a lot of separation. So, I mean, so if we're going to keep guys in for, to pass block and mass protect and chip guys, that's going to cut down on his options. And so what is it? So you're going to slow down the pass rush by having a guy stay for mass protect, but then guys aren't getting open. So Miller's got to hang on to the ball longer. And then someone so you're kind of playing both ways. You kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You got to run it.
You got to run the ball. Yeah. I like that idea. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Paulie Walnuts from Los Angeles, my friends. What's going on, brothers?
What's up, Paulie? Good to hear from you again.
Hey, and good shout out to Preston out there too, man. It's for the USC hat there. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to jump into it. I got enchiladas going tonight, making them with mom. So it's a special time for me. But anyway, to your point, as far as the pass rush goes, I really hope we can see a really heavy dose of Quentin Joyner again. I see nothing but positive things. I know he fumbled, whatever, but you know what? The kid's confidence, you don't want to crush it completely. I want to see him out there. Those big tree trunk legs are hard to bring down, man. I don't care who it is. And then also, let's get a heavy dose of Mekhi Lemon in there too. I mean, that's the kind of guy that you can hit him right there in the slot or whatever the case might be. And he just makes things happen with his creativity. And maybe that'll help out Branch as well, but I'm just looking at it, our backs are against the wall. This is, these young men need to look in the man in the glass is never going to lie to you. And you need to take a good look at yourself and put it out there. I'm really hoping my Trojans come out, really just angry this time and get out there and put it all out there on the field. Listen, I got to get back. I could already hear mom calling, but I hate to make it so short, gentlemen. But thank you so much for everything. Have a great weekend and fight on.
Fight on, Paulie. Great call. Hey, I like it. Straight to the point. Awesome. Make some great points, Preston. Talking about getting Quentin Joyner out there. Yeah, Quentin Joyner is running for 11 yards a clip in the last game. There's really been no bigger fan of Quentin Joyner than this guy since that spring game where he exploded. So I'm excited to watch him. I know that he's gonna be back out there. He just got to take care of that ball. Unfortunately, a helmet to the ball, but you gotta protect the ball. In the Big Ten, Riley said it, and we've all said it. Really, when you play in the Big Ten, you're not going to get the number of possessions. So therefore, every possession is more important. Therefore, every turnover is catastrophic when you only have like 4 or 5 possessions in the second half. You got to take care of that ball. Absolutely. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on Paulie's thoughts, Preston?
Yeah, man. I spoke about it in my video too. I mean, I think Quentin Dorn's got to feel away about what happened last week because he ran the ball at 11 yards a clip and fumbles and never gets back in the game. So I think, tomorrow he's going to have a lot to prove. And yeah, man, we're just gonna have to block these guys. And I want to see a heavy dose of tight ends. I mean, I could get into that later, but I don't know if I think Lake McCree may be back. I'm not really sure.
Lake McCree might be back. He's practicing.
Back. Yeah, so if Lake is back and we can get 2 tight ends in there, then I mean that could be a wrinkle for us. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what they do.
Yeah, and the also thing is he brought up Mekhi Lemon, and Mekhi Lemon was just coming off, that vicious hit at Michigan. He came back, he played in the game, he had a couple of great plays. That guy, I'm telling you guys, we haven't yet. We saw a little bit in the bowl game. He played a little bit early. We haven't seen the full Mekhi Lemon yet. You guys, believe me, everyone's raving about Deuce. Everyone's been raving about Jacoby, and obviously Zachariah Branch. But I'm telling you, Mekhi Lemon, you guys, you get him the ball, and he's an amazing athlete in space. He's hard. I heard someone was trying to do comps for him the other day. I was listening on the way into work, and it's true. He's just got too many. He's got some great aspects to everything. He's a technician. He's a good route runner, but he's more physical. He's fast as hell too. I mean, I talked about at least a couple of times. I watched that playoff game at St. John Bosco about 3 years ago. Three years ago, and he and Nelson just went off. And a big part of that is because Mekhi Lemon was getting open, and that was one of the better St. John Bosco defenses I've seen in a while. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I let Paulie get out of here, by the way, without can I get your score at the beginning? Because I'm a bit old and I forget things. Can we go first with your score prediction? Let's start it off at the beginning. So what's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your prediction?
Hey, Tim, it's Robbie. I always love how you never fail to bring John Bosco up in the conversation.
And I always will. Go Braves.
That's right. Again, Preston, very, very impressed, young man. You're a great addition to him.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome, young man. All right. It's been said. Everybody knows thinking tomorrow, our Penn State might have trouble traveling so far. Our tackles might actually block somebody for once. That's what they're best at. It's been beat to death. I would like to see from Riley like a lot, maybe like some screens, get the ball out quickly. The dreaded Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian bubble screens to the things to try to get the ball out of the hands quickly. Just something to negate their rush, because I don't think going max protection is going to help anything. Because as you brought up earlier, Tim, like Gabe said, so our separation's not great. Our hands and action to the ball in the air is fine. And there's got to be a way to neglect that. And I really, really, really believe, I don't know if Eric Gentry's going to play or not, but they need to put some heat on Penn State.
Yeah, on defense, we just don't seem like Preston. It doesn't seem like we're getting home. Okay, so we are getting some pressures. There are some pressures, but just not getting home. That brings up the case of has anyone got any confirmation out there in the chat? Also, Preston, Anthony Lucas went down in that game.
Yeah.
But again, I talked about it. I said I didn't think we'd have all these injuries until later in the season. But missing Bear, missing Lucas, missing Covington late in that game, it's not a surprise where they struggled at the very end there. It seemed like they figured, again, just like always, it seemed like they figured out in the third quarter. They were getting stops, but then the injuries mounted up, and then it was just a touchdown.
Tim, in both cases, they were on the field way too long because the offense wasn't converting third downs.
Good point.
And getting sacked on third down.
Good. Well, I mean, it seemed like, to be honest with you, except for when they had when they had the interception, let's say the interception, and then they had the fumble, and then the last interception. I'm not really going to count that one, but it seemed like the only team that could stop. Well, hang on. The only team that could stop USC in that game, it seemed like USC, and that's why it's really important for USC to play a clean game. Right? You got to take care of the ball. and the penalties, which again, I mean, I get it. They let stuff go in the Big Ten. You know, when we had on the third down on that series you're talking about with the intentional grounding, we get there and everyone gets mad. But also you had the pass interference that wasn't called. I mean, I don't know. 9 out of 10 times that's called. But the problem is that it was a crucial third down and they kept the flag in their pocket. Okay, then how come when Minnesota's marching and then they call it looked like Jalen had like he turned for the ball. It looked like there was hand fighting. I'm tired of that. There were both. It was literally hand fighting. If anything, you could say that he interfered because he was holding Jalen's arm. Hold on, hey, dude, hold on, man. He was holding his arm, if anything, for the incompletion. So I'm a bit confused on the whole thing. I know I'm going to be called a homer. Oh God, why are you crying? Well, I'm crying because it seems like there's no holding calls in the Michigan game until USC is at the 10-yard line. Then they call a holding penalty to back us up. It just seems like, look, I want consistency. If you're going to be inept, be inept both ways. Okay, don't call it one-sided. And then we're going to get to that last play because I'm not letting that go. I mean, I haven't had a show really this week since Riley said what he said, but I want to get into that later in the show. Hey, so Robbie, what score do you got for Saturday? Robbie.
I got us falling short by 4, 21-17.
So USC losing by 4. Okay, so close game.
I hope I'm wrong. I am at 62% against the spread in college. Just saying that I'm just telling you what I picked on my CBS Sports line, which I get nothing for winning, by the way, but they're still pretty impressive averages today.
Yeah, absolutely, Robbie. Okay, so you got USC. So right about, I think Gabe said that the line's all the way down to 3. And I said 3.5 now. So you're right. You're right there.
I think if I see creative or different offensive formations and to get the ball out quickly or utilize the tight ends real quickly to negate their pass rush, I really like it, but I will have to see that early. And I love Riley, but it doesn't seem like he changes much. He just runs the same twin 2 receiver, 11 personnel 90% of the time. So.
Yeah. Well, I think Preston's onto it. I think we are going to run the ball.
And I like hearing what you said. Like this game in particular, you're not going to be, I think the game is going to be the same the entire game. What we see in the first half, we're going to see in the second half. So I think we'll know how things are going to really play out by the end of the first quarter, to be honest with you, in terms of, how creative we're going to get on offense.
And again, I'm going to let
what
you guys
changes
know.
we're going to be making. So
remember, Tim, you're the one who asked to be in this conference. You're the one who said, so great, and we were above the Pac-12, and their refs are stupid. You asked for this. And when we start at 9 a.m. at 3 times and these things happen, and when the teams have to sleep and lose to Minnesota or Northwestern or whatever it will be, just remember you asked for it.
Okay.
And,
I'll remember I asked for it.
Sometimes you get what you ask for.
Yeah. All right, Robbie. Thank you. Thanks for the call. Appreciate calling and fight on, man.
Love you, Timmy.
All right. So here's one thing though, I gotta say. First off, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for the Pac-12 to go from being one of the strongest and best conferences in college football to this completely feckless organization run by Tennis Larry, who basically drove it into the ground where parity was going to be the new model. And we were to share revenue with schools that didn't put any money into their programs, yet USC is making the same amount of money on their TV contracts as these other programs. That's not what I asked for, Robbie. What I said was yes, please. Absolutely. Did you want to go down the ship, Robbie? Do you want to be playing Mountain West teams next year? I certainly don't. I'm glad we're not playing Mountain West teams next year. So we moved over with the Bruins. We moved over with the Bruins and the half-off Huskies and the discount Ducks. And we went over to the Big Ten. And look, we're just starting. This is our first year. And by the way, this big thing, the SC can't handle it. See what it's like in the Big Ten. This is crazy. We've lost twice on 4th and goals at the end of games. Is it just 2 plays? No, we're farther than 2 plays away. But it's not like anyone's kicking our ass. I mean, I've not seen one game, including Michigan. We're like, well, shit, they just blew the doors off of us. Now, we haven't played Ohio State. Okay, well that'll be. But historically, we played Ohio State great. The way our offensive line looks, I'm not too excited about playing a team of Ohio State's caliber until that gets cleaned up. But to say that we don't belong in the Big Ten, I'm sorry. Save that for someone else, because that's just a bunch of horse shit. I mean, we have 2 losses, and again, when we talk about when they make up special rules in the Big Ten so that USC gets a loss. A better way to put it is they completely ignore what the freaking rule is, and they say, well, we think he got in. Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. Hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Tim, it's Adam calling from Georgia. How are you?
Adam, thank you so much for calling. What's up, Adam? Hey, so how's the Rutgers channel going?
Oh, it's going good. We had our first show a few days ago, and I'm going to have one tomorrow after the Wisconsin game. So great to start the channel, and hope everyone tunes in. So you guys, if you haven't heard, Adam's obviously he's like a fixture on this show for sure. He has started his own channel here at the Voice of College Football, covering the Rutgers. So I'm excited. I can't wait to check it out. I'm sure I'll probably catch it on replay. But Adam, I'll be there. What are your thoughts about the game tomorrow, Adam? Thanks. Well, I just want to make 3 quick points about the game. First, yes, of course we belong in the Big Ten. All right, we've shown that we're sufficiently talented. I do worry about the traveling and the schedule, but we certainly have the talent and belong in the Big Ten. Regarding tomorrow's game, my concern is our offensive line against the Penn State defensive front, because one of the problems with Miller Moss is he doesn't have enough time to throw, and he's constantly under duress. I think if we don't fix that tomorrow, we're going to be in trouble. And ultimately, the other thing I wanted to say is that Lincoln Riley is a great, great play caller. And I'm concerned that we haven't been scoring enough points on offense. And I'm wondering, how do you think the offensive line is going to do tomorrow? And what do we need to do to score more points and ultimately pull out the win against Penn State?
Okay. Go ahead, Preston. I mean, I'll go next, but I've got my thoughts, but I might be a little bit long, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's rocket science, to be honest with you. I think you have to consistently run the ball. Even if you get 1 yard, even if you get stuffed on first or second down, you have to consistently throughout the game run the ball. I think an incorporation of 2 tight ends, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think that will help as well with, catching passes as well as blocking. So that's how you can help them, because we know they need help. I mean, I can't go based off of what's happened this season. I mean, I thought we were more solid on the line than we obviously are at this point. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I want to see tomorrow.
Yeah, and so here's what I'm saying. I think at some aspects, at some position on the offensive line, it looks like there's been some improvement. Matter of fact, I think that if you watch that game, Adam, I think Elijah learned how to block in the Big Ten this year, because his blocking was great on the edge, which kind of held up the pass rush a little bit, if you know what I mean. And look, if they're not going to call it, and they didn't, so now I get it. Now I know why the Michigan fans are like, dude, why are you crying about the holding? It's because in the Big Ten, you don't call holding. Like literally, I'm seeing holding on both sides all over the place, and they're not calling it. I think against Michigan, SC was playing like how they played in the Pac-12, where like if you get slightly outside the frame, or if you barely grab hold the t-shirt, a jersey, then you're gonna get flagged. And I think SC was playing straight up. I think that they've figured it out, and so that helped out Elijah a lot, I think, in the previous game. I just hope that, again, the way these things go, though, I hope in the last 2-3 minutes, this is a close game, all of a sudden the refs start throwing flags at USC for holding. That will tell you all you need to know. All right. And then, I think you're right. The 12 personnel, I think it looked really good. The running game looked great when you had Eldridge and we have Lake McCree back. We had Eldridge and McCree blocking the run game, you guys. That 12 personnel looked really, really good. So I'm with you, Preston. You can't abandon the run, because the idea is, and if we could maybe just, I don't know about the tempo, I guess that's been talked about a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't mind it being slowed, instead of slowing it down, I wouldn't mind using the home field advantage and just kind of getting and trying to tire out this Penn State pass rush. I mean, that is a great way to do it. So, we need improvement. And I do think, I do see improvement, Adam. I do see improvement, but is it going to be enough? And when does it get to a point where we feel that they're going to give Miller Moss time? Because like you said, if they give Miller Moss time, he's probably the best quarterback in the in the Big Ten, and he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country if you give him time.
I totally agree with you. And the only thing I'll say is this. Look, Penn State is not an offensive juggernaut. They scored 27 points at home against UCLA. Our defense is going to hold them to 27 or under. What we need to do is get over that hump. And if we score 28 plus, we're going to win the game. And I think that it's going to come down to 4 or 5 critical plays. We've got to win on third down, make fourth down conversions, and hold them in the red zone. If we can do that, I think we can win the game. Thanks for taking my call, Tim.
Anytime, man. Thank you, Adam, for calling in. You guys remember, make sure you check out Adam Lamparello after the Rutgers game if you guys want to get they're a Big Ten team that we need to learn about. We're gonna be happy to see them, and go check out Adam post game. Adam, what time about? Do you know?
Post game will be around 4:00.
Okay, so you're up against us.
Going forward, it's going to be every Monday at 7. Yeah. So thanks for talking about the show, and fight on.
Fight on. Thanks, Adam.
You got it.
So yeah, I mean, we knew. I mean, I did say I said the offensive line is going to improve over the season, but again, I thought we were starting at Preston a little bit higher level than where we actually came out of the gate. Roy Banuelos. Speaking of offensive line, Roy Banuelos, the father of Michael Banuelos. Thank you so much. One of our longest and biggest contributors on the show. Thank you so much for being here. I know Roy told me he's on the road right now, so hopefully you're driving nice and safe. Get where you need to go, and look forward to talking to you. Fight on, man. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like we can talk about that call. So this is what I'm talking about. The exact quote from Riley was, so this is we're talking about is that the ball fumbled. There was a fumble during that play, the final play, the tush push and they go. If you guys don't understand it, in order for you to overturn a ruling on the field, there has to be, you have to have like just video evidence that you just without a doubt in your mind that the ball, not the ball carrier, but the ball crossed the plane of the end zone. We all watched that. There wasn't any angle that showed that ball going over the line. So this is a quote. So Lincoln Riley, after practice, shared the conversation he had with the Big Ten about it. He said, quote, "They told me they believed he had scored. But when you get those sneak plays like that, nobody can see the ball. The first time you see the ball, it's on the ground. So when it came out, which they admit, nobody knows when it came out." So again, it's kind of like a court of law. You're like innocent until proven guilty. The play stands until you prove that the play was wrong. And if you can't prove that the play was wrong, you can't overturn it. This is about as basic as it comes when it comes to these rules of overturning it. I'm not amazed. I'm not amazed that the national media or other people aren't talking about this, because if this happened to like Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State or Michigan, everyone would be losing their minds. And here's another thing. If what Lincoln Riley said was untrue, they would have released their own statement saying, Coach Riley, this and that, blah, blah, and these are why we overturned it. They didn't say squat after he said that. There's been no press release, no nothing. Silence. Which makes me believe, because quite frankly, we saw all the angles they had, Preston. Did you see one of those angles where you see the ball cross the plane? And it's funny, you do. You see the ball on the ground. It's like he's way over here, and the ball's still in the middle of the pile.
Never see it cross the plane. Never see it cross the plane. You see the ball on the ground, you see the ball pop out, but never see it cross the plane. And they gave him the call, and there was no inconclusive evidence that ball made it cross the line, like it. But
and it's not a bang bang play. I get it. A guy gets it wrong on the field, and they go back in the booth and they can correct that. They can look at it and look for evidence. That's why that initial call is so important. And Lincoln Riley also said, hey, look, if they had called a touchdown on the field, I wouldn't even be complaining, because again, there's no way to tell. We don't know when he fumbled or when he didn't fumble. We don't know if the ball crossed the plane. So if it's ruled a touchdown on the field, we have to have evidence that the ball didn't cross, and we don't see when the ball comes out. Therefore, I couldn't complain. But that's not the case. It was ruled short on the field. Therefore, they had to prove it. And again, I'm blowing my mind. Anyone wants to call me whiner or whatever, that's literally the rule. And if I saw a video or anything where the ball did cross, then there's no conversation about this. Oh, well, the guy got, the ball carrier got across the goal line. So therefore the ball must have, right? No, the ball's on the damn ground and we don't know that ball ever reached the goal line. So we don't know. Therefore, you have to go back to the play on the field, and the play on the field was as stands. It's just crazy that they could literally change. I mean, I don't know if this is a payback for them screwing up that onside kick, Preston.
It's terrible. I can't even do it. I mean, I've tried to move on from it. It's so bad. It's so infuriating that actually went down. And the biggest question about the biggest question mark about tomorrow is the officiating. That's also a huge question mark about tomorrow. So, we just gotta wait and see, man. Can't put it in their hands.
All right. So then Gixter Squid, thank you so much for a $10 super chat. He's asking, so he's basically it's a statement and then a question. He says, love the show. Miller Moss is good, but he's essentially the first quarterback that Lincoln Riley didn't get to hand select. Baker, Caleb, Spencer, Jaden. Do you think will regret Miller? Miller's not the reason, Gixter, I hear a lot of people coming at Miller. I mean, it's what people do. People really want this to be a quick fix, right? Hey, we'll bring in the backup quarterback and then our offense will be fixed. I don't know if you guys realize, but the same offensive line will be there, whether it's Mayava or it's Moss. It's going to be the same offensive line. He's still going to be running for his life back there. And in case anyone forgot, we watched even a great mobile quarterback, a guy that had like a sixth sense, a guy that had a great pocket awareness and could run with the best of any quarterbacks and toughness. And he couldn't even make it happen last year. So, I mean, I think Jaden Mayava is a great quarterback. He's going to have his moment. I don't think it's here. I think that your best quarterback and the best quarterback gives USC the best chance of winning is Miller Moss. But one thing I just can't tell you guys this enough. If Riley thought it was the right move, he'd make the move. He would have switched. There would have been a switch. We would have said he's not going to sit back and ride with Miller because he's his best friend or they're friends or I don't know what excuse we could have. He would have switched it up by now. But it's a great point. It's a great point that Miller was a quarterback that he inherited. I think that's maybe why, Preston, we saw that he was shopping around in the portal. Mm-hmm. And but then he watched that Holiday Bowl. He said, I think I can work with this. And quite frankly, you guys, if you watched the first 5 games this season, especially some of the plays that he made at Michigan, I mean, there were guys in his face rolling, and I can't remember, and he rolls out to his left and just throws a dime. I mean, I don't know what he has to do for some of you guys to realize, A, he's not a statue. That's what we're saying. You don't have to be you don't have to have 4.4, 4.5 speed in order to not be a statue. Your quarterback, you want him to be able to move in the pocket, and he's able to move in the pocket and throw in the pocket. I don't know what your thoughts on that, Preston, are.
Yeah, Miller Moss is a great quarterback. He's very accurate. He makes good throws. He makes great decisions. And I really have no more thoughts on it. I mean, he's doing a great job for the circumstances at hand right now. And I think he should be the starter at this point. So
yeah, all great points, Gixer. I see people are getting frustrated, but I just don't think that the issue is Miller. I think the issue is the offensive line has been the same. It's been the problem for the last 2 years going. Why we've seen this offense not play at the level it should be playing. But great point. I mean, he didn't. He inherited him, but he could have replaced him, right, Gixer? He could have replaced him. He could have brought someone in, and he could have named Mayava the star at the beginning of the season. But he's riding with him, and there's a reason why. Because if, in my opinion, you watch the LSU game, you watch the Michigan game, you watch those games, and he's played brilliant under duress and under pressure. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Call, you there?
Hi, this is Matthew. I'm calling from Riverside.
Hey, Matthew. Thanks for calling in.
I'm calling from Riverside.
Great. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Listen, I hear the different fans, their concerns, and I hear a lot of complaining about what's going on. And there's no doubt we have complaints. But I think that everybody needs to stop a little bit and look at it from the proper perspective. And if we'll just go back to the end of last season, and if we stop and remember what a disaster the team it was last season at the end of the year, and all of us were screaming, get rid of Lincoln Riley, of which I was one of them too.
At the end of last year?
And I was wondering what. This is the end of last game. I'm not talking last game, the Louisville game. I'm talking before the bowl game.
You were talking. Wait, you were yelling. Get rid of. You were yelling. Get rid of Lincoln Riley after the end of last year.
I'm not talking the bowl game. I'm just talking at the end of the year. We had the big expectations for the season, and the season crashed and burned.
Okay.
So what I'm getting at is, but then we saw what could really happen at the Louisville game. We saw the team come together. We saw Lincoln Riley put a great plan together, and we realized, and we were reminded again, hey, Lincoln Riley is a great coach. So now we come into the season, and I'm a diehard USC fan. I'm talking with all my friends, and coming into the season, to be honest with you, I was telling everybody we're going to probably win 8 games this season. Nobody was thinking national championship. The realistic was 8 games. And I wanted to see the defense improve. We got all these new coaches. Let's see some improvement on the defense. We win the first 2 games, and all of a sudden the national media is screaming, hey, these guys have championship potential. We're definitely going to make it to the playoffs. You know, suddenly everybody's jumping on the Trojan bandwagon. And again, I came in at 8 wins, but the LSU win looked so good. And then when we saw them shut out Utah, and you're thinking, wow, this defense is really great. And I got excited like everybody else. But suddenly reality kicked into what our team is right now. And
what is our team right now?
A good team right now. SC is a good team. They're not a great team. They're a good team right now. And the good thing, though, and what I'm happy about is our defense, we're lacking. We don't have the talent that the big-time programs have, but our defense has improved dramatically. So we can last season we're giving up 40 points a game. Suddenly this season we're giving up in the low 20s. So we see we know we're stepping forward defense. All right. Our offense has the players. All right. And anybody who complains about Miller Moss, I don't know what these people are thinking. Miller Moss is a good quarterback. Any team in the nation would love to have Miller Moss behind the ball, behind the center right now. Okay, what our weakness, and we all know our weakness is our line. Miller Moss is running for his life every game. And that we all have to blame on Lincoln Riley and the coaching staff. How they allowed that to happen, I don't understand. I'll blame him for that. But we are seeing progress from last season. We're seeing growth in the team. Well, we need strengthen the defensive line. We need to strengthen the offensive line. SC's a big-time program again. Right now, we lost Bear Alexander and we lost Gentry. Those are huge losses. Those are huge losses for the defense. And so they've got to really step up tomorrow. What I'm getting at again is for all the fans who are complaining again and getting angry, yeah, we have some things to be upset about. We do. But look at it from the proper perspective. We have taken steps forward. SC's literally, we got to accept SC's rebuilding right now. And I do genuinely believe we're on the right track. Okay. And
all right.
Everybody,
Matthew.
A couple lucky breaks, we could be 5-0. Go ahead.
Oh, let me hop in here. So you're making some good points, but I think we're kind of going over the same points. No, I agree. The difference in this team has been a huge shift in the coaching. And I'm have to agree with you. I mean, the depth and the depth of talent, may not be there yet. And that's something that's probably going to be a work in progress, Preston. Unfortunately, it's kind of working against you. You want to show this defense. And the good thing is although we're losing, we are not getting embarrassed. This defense does look better. Even though the offensive line is struggling, the offense is still moving the ball. So, I mean, I don't think Riley's going to have trouble recruiting offensive players. And I do think that there is a lot of interest from some really, really great defensive players, high school players that are looking at USC. And don't forget, it's not like USC is not going to go to the portal and pick up some pieces. They're going to do that as well. I do believe this is more of a talent thing than it is a coaching thing. We can really pretty much say that. And you said the thing about Bear Alexander. You said the thing about Eric Gentry being out. But on top of that, you have to add into it. Again, we lost Lucas and we lost Covington down the stretch of that game. And we've been a second half team the whole time. And in the beginning of the second half, before those injuries popped up, even with having no Bear Alexander, and no Gentry, The second half, just like always, Danton made the adjustments. We were getting stops. We were moving the ball. The interception was unfortunate. And then the injuries on our defense kind of sealed the deal for us, Preston.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, caller. Appreciate you calling in, Matthew.
Hey, no problem. Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Great call. Yeah. So there's no doubt about it. Going into this season, we knew, like I said, I like our 22, and I still say that. I still like our starting 22. I do have some questions. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. We were all worried about the defensive line and defensive interior. There were people saying, and everyone. Matter of fact, at practice, I was there. Riley said, "Well, we're looking to get bigger." Like everyone knows, we're looking to get bigger on the offense. We want some, defensive linemen in the middle, and then we need some tackle. We need some offensive tackles. He said that, and then we didn't get any. I think we probably needed that one veteran offensive tackle. And I mean, I hate to give am I going to do this? Am I actually going to give Duck fans and the Duck program some credit? It's painful for me to do.
Oh,
no, but I have to do it because they've been pulling. They've been pulling these tackles that if we had one or two of them over the past couple of years, just one or two of these guys, we're talking about a whole different ball game. But unfortunately, the discount Ducks are getting Southern California tackles. Are getting West Coast and in the West and in Utah. They're getting the players that USC wants to get. USC's got to start landing. I mean, great. We're all about development, but USC's got to start landing and paying for some top offensive tackles. I mean, we just need to make it happen, Preston.
And Tim, the easiest way to do it, win on the field. Gotta do it.
Sometimes it's what came first, because you need the players to win, and then you need to win to get the players. And so I think the coaching might be able to bridge that gap. That will be interesting to see, for sure. So I know I'm trying to get out to the Bosco game, and I know it's Friday and you're young and you want to get out. So you guys, unless we get a call probably in the next couple of minutes, we're gonna wrap up things. But listen, we appreciate people calling in. We are gonna try to. So I was talking to Preston, and it looks like Wednesday nights. Okay, I can't do Thursday nights, just work reasons and other stuff. Wednesday can't happen, and I really want to have Friday nights for high school football. So I think that the only thing I could think of is going to be Wednesday night for our time slot. We'll do the call-in show on Wednesdays. It'd be a nice bridge. Because we'll be able to bridge the gap between the previous game and then looking forward to Saturday's game. I think Wednesday in the middle of the week would be a great opportunity for that as well. Yeah. So maybe I could talk Preston into to coming back next Wednesday, and we can hit that at probably. So yeah, I'll say it right now. Wednesday, Preston, does that work for you? Yeah. Wednesday 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. We'll be here to talk about the Penn State game. All right. So make sure you get out here to see us Wednesday night. And again, I don't think we have any calls, so I think we are going to call it early tonight.
Are we hitting predictions?
All right. So let's hear yours. I have mine. Oh wait, hold on. We got a call. Let's grab this call. I mean, wait, what time is it? Okay, we have time. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Rodolfo. I'm calling from Bermuda Dunes, California, Southern California.
Rodolfo, great, awesome. First off, before I forget, because I keep forgetting everyone, Matthew and Adam got out of here. What's your prediction? What's your prediction for a score?
USC 34-21.
34-20. Wow. Okay. 34-21 Trojans. Excellent. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the game? What's on your mind right now?
Main thing for me is the officiating. There's going to be a big differential between, USC to be on the plus side of 10 compared to the other team only getting 4 calls against them, like they did at Minnesota.
It did seem that the penalties came at some really horrible times. I'm with you, but I'm beginning to think it's also a lot of home cooking.
Opportune times for Minnesota.
Well, when we were at home,
they didn't get a whole lot of.
What's that?
I said Minnesota and Michigan did get a whole lot of home. It seems like they brought their own referees.
Well, it seems, yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of home cooking going on. So we didn't see a lot of the really bad calls, even when it was tight against Wisconsin. It seemed like they were keeping the flags in their pockets. And for the most part, it does seem like in general, these Big Ten refs, they don't call a lot of stuff. The one I had the biggest problem with, again, and Preston's already let it go, and Riley said it's not the reason why we lost, and I agree with that mentality. You know, there's lots of plays you could have made in that game, so SC wouldn't be worrying about a blown call at the end of the game in order to save it. But my point is how do you change the replay rules to let Minnesota win? Because, you guys, there's no other way to say this.
It's like another one that was very critical and never should even got to that was also, I have never in my life, I played sports all my life. My children are in sports right now. I've always told them never argue with the referee because the referee will never change his call. I had never seen it until last Saturday when PJ called the timeout. Clearly, you can see he called a timeout. The referee charged him with a timeout. Then they turned around and said, "Oh no, he was right. He wasn't calling a timeout."
Yeah, that was weird.
I've never seen the referee change your call.
Nor have I.
Never.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we're talking. That's to me was incredible. I was like, "What? A referee actually changing their call?" I mean, I understand changing the call after further review. That's different.
Apparently, Mars is just checking in right now. So Mars, come in, Mars. We're here on Earth right now. We aren't saying, as a matter of fact, I kind of even said that. I even said as much. I said, I don't, maybe there isn't a conspiracy, maybe whatever. Maybe they're just completely incompetent. But if Mars, you want to sit here and say that they're calling it both ways? I mean, dude, Mars, I would love call right now and tell me, have you ever heard where a play was overturned when there was no video evidence to overturn it? Just curious, because that's really what I'm talking about. They ignored the damn rule. They just said, we think they got in, so we're just going to give them the win. That's not how this shit works, Mars.
Can't go against the rule book, man. That's
literally the rule book.
Yeah.
If you don't want to call foul, if you don't want to call, a penalty here or there, that's fine. But when it says the only way you could overturn, and by the way, they go up, they look at 5 different cameras, they take their sweet ass time, 3 or 4 more commercials worth, and then they come back and say touchdown when there's zero evidence that the guy got a football across the thing. Nah, man, either you have an issue with USC or you're just homering for the Big Ten, because there's literally there's no excuse for it.
I think it's a combination of both. To be honest.
Well, what a dumb comment, Mars. You pay attention, man.
It's to me, it's just ridiculous, and it just continues.
And then here's some more great logic. This is another thing I like. Laugh my ass off. USC should have been tied with Minnesota that late. You're right. So if a team is injured, right? They have some key injuries, and they're late in the game with a tie with the game with a team that. Oh, sorry, they're up by 3. By the way, no, they're up by 4. They're up by 4.
Yeah.
No, they need a touchdown. They're up by 3. So here's my point. If it's late in the game, no, what am I saying? They need a touchdown. They're upset. Okay, anyway, so it's tied late in the game, right? And I'm getting my games mixed up. It doesn't matter. The rule's a rule. So if you're tied with the team that you shouldn't be tied with late in the game, then you could ignore the rule. Again, Alex West, work on your logic, man. That makes no sense. So nobody's bitching about it. We've accepted the loss. Hey, hang on, buddy. We've accepted the loss. We're saying you guys screwed up. You refs and the Big Ten, not only did you screw up, sorry, this wasn't a mistake, Preston. This is not a mistake.
Everybody misses calls and whatnot, but when you're going against the rule book, that you gotta look into that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's some different stuff. That's not just missing a call. That's not just missing a hold or a hit. That is, you're going against what the rules are. Like
and we get it, dude. Alex, I totally get it. We agree. Lincoln Riley agrees. The whole team, the entire USC fan base agrees. But it still doesn't make it right. You're right. They shouldn't let. But this isn't a play where a bang play and a penalty goes against you or they don't see something. This was something they stopped the damn game, reviewed it about 4 or 5 different camera angles for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then came back and said, well, you know what? We couldn't see he scored, but let's just give it to Minnesota anyway, right? Am I right? Because SC shouldn't be in this game anyway. So USC, you lose. We're gonna rewrite the rule book. And you know what, Minnesota, PJ, give us a fist bump. You win the game, right? I mean, I'm sorry. That macho logic doesn't make any sense to me.
That gave me a flashback of when I used to be in high school. We used to go play in the Southern County, and before we even got there, we already knew we were down by 7 points. That's the way it was there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's the way it was, and that's the way it feels like right now with USC playing in the Big Ten. Is that no matter what, they're going in, and they're down by 7, maybe 10 points.
It's tough to play 18 on 11. It's tough to play 18 on 11, and if those guys in the striped shirts are making plays like that, and by the way, I'm not accusing them of cheating. I agree, they're probably just really incompetent. But the issue is when you go up to the booth and the replay officials just ignore. I mean, by the way, Preston, it's not like these guys just showed up and said, "Hey, you guys want to be the replay officials?" These guys know they know what you need to do to overturn it.
They wrote the rules
anyway.
Crazy.
Guys, you really have to look at the big picture. These guys are trained for one thing. You have one job. Did you see it on the camera? Yes or no? No, you can't overturn it. Yes, go ahead and overturn it. Or do two things. You could say, if you didn't see it, you say the play stands. That's what it should have been. The call stands. They couldn't prove he didn't score. They couldn't prove that he scored. So we all hear the phrase, on for review, the play stands. First down, USC. That's what should have happened at that point. They can't say that he didn't get in. They would have said the play stands. And anybody homering out there or hating out there, you truly are an idiot because they have one job and they blew it. So, great call.
And the national media doesn't cover it. It doesn't give USC any credit right away.
They know what's coming. They know what's coming. I'm sorry. They know what's coming. You know, and right. maybe it's not coming this year. But they know what's coming.
It's all right.
Can you imagine if that would have happened to the Golden Goose, Alabama?
Well, I mean, it'd be more like if it happened to Ohio State. You think this happens to Ohio State? You think Ohio State on Saturday tomorrow?
Or Alabama, the Golden Goose, Alabama.
Yeah, but we're talking.
Alabama can't do no wrong.
Rodolfo, but we're talking. But the Big Ten officials don't care about Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
right.
Well, Ohio State, no, hell no.
Right.
Never happened to
Do you think this happens to Penn State on the road? Do you think this happens to Michigan on the road?
Hell no.
I hope it happens to Penn State on the road.
Do you think it was a makeup call because of the miss one that they did with Michigan and Minnesota?
Well, it's not much of a makeup call when if they do it the next time that they play Michigan, that would be a makeup call. But to take it out on USC's hide, that's not a makeup call. That's screwing USC and getting a fist bump from PJ Fleck. That's all that is. Yeah.
Why not screw USC? They always do that anyway.
Again,
California as always.
Most of the time, people used to think the Pac-12 had it out for USC, the officiating. Now, I just think that, again, they were incredibly incompetent. On the field, I think the Big Ten officials have been very inconsistent. This guy, whoever he was, someone say he's a troll. There was nothing consistent about that game in Minnesota. That the pass interference, when you see Jacoby Lane pulled down from behind, no flag. Okay, fine. We're not calling that stuff, right? But then you have Jalen Smith with inside leverage, turning the ball, trying to grab it one-handed, and their receivers holding his other arm as he's trying to catch the ball, and they call defensive pass interference. I mean,
guys
come on.
running out of bounds.
That's probably not even pass interference. At the very least, it's no call. At best, it's offensive pass interference.
Nope.
So
To
whatever.
the Michigan game, the announcers, the commentators even said during the runs, they're like, "What? That was a clear horse collar." And the commentators were like, "Why didn't they call that?" And it was wide open. They saw that. And then on that one run, they tackled Anthony Lucas.
No, I know. Listen,
he didn't get blocked. He got tackled.
I totally listen. I took pictures. I don't know if you saw them, Rodolfo. I took a ton of pictures showing them like pulling jerseys 2 feet. I mean, I'm not kidding. And I was really pissed off because I didn't get the Big Ten yet, but I get the Big Ten now. And I watched Elijah and I watched our offensive line. We're holding like mad, Rodolfo, and they're not calling it. So I'm good with that. If you're gonna swallow your whistle and let the trenches play the way they're playing, no wonder their defenses, right? No wonder they let them do it because the defenses apparently are so good that the offenses are allowed to hold. because that's what they must be doing. I don't know if they're to balance out or whatever, but they do not in this league. You know, if you're like out here, it's called blocking way out here. It doesn't matter. If you're grabbing and pulling a t-shirt, holding on for a ride, it's not called holding. It's called blocking. And as long as our offensive line can do the same thing, so be it. Let's have wrestling matches in the trenches. That's fine, as long as it's going both ways. But again, they let it go the whole game, and then SC's at the 12-yard line, and we see our first holding flag of the game. Huh? You know, it just sometimes gets a bit weird. All right. Well, listen, Rodolfo, appreciate you calling in, man. Fight on.
Thank you very much. I enjoy your program very much, man. And you know what? That guy Jason from Hall of Fame football, he got no love for you, but I don't like the guy either.
I got one word for you. Who? I don't know Jason, so he can say whatever he wants about me. I you know. And by the way, Rodolfo, when you get your show one day and you're doing this,
Oklahoma hate.
Well, Oklahoma, whatever. Listen, if you come up here and you get on the microphone, and you just talk as much as I do, there's gonna be plenty of people that don't like you, and that's fine. Cool. I mean, great. You don't like me. That's fine. Jason, who's Jason? Who? So,
yeah, well, he's like I said. The only thing is right now too. The only game I want to pay attention to tomorrow, other than us, is going to be hopefully the Texas dog walks Oklahoma, because all the trash they talk about USC. I guess they're still butthurt from the Orange Bowl game that we gave them the ass kicking.
I'll tell you what, that's a rivalry. You know, people, it's not just talk. That's right. Last year, Texas, we thought Texas was a dog walk Oklahoma. We thought they were the better team. You know, but rivalry games happen, and they happen for a reason. And you know, I wouldn't guarantee. I know Texas has a good team, but man, I you know, we thought the same thing last year.
No, I just don't like Oklahoma now. I had nothing against Oklahoma until they started talking their trash for no apparent reason.
I'm with you. I have nothing against
Oklahoma. I don't even care. I don't even care. I would even sometimes forget Oklahoma had a football team, because I don't even care. They don't even exist until now.
Yeah. Well, I really like. I respect Oklahoma. I've liked Oklahoma going way back. I think Oklahoma is one of the blue bloods. They're great, and I have no issues with their program. I have no issues with the majority of their fans. But there are some Oklahoma fans that just lost their freaking minds when Riley left, and we all know who they are. I mean, let's be real. Our fan base has those people too. So to judge the entire program, the team, and the school on a bunch of on like a handful of idiots at Oklahoma, I mean, they're not all like that. You know, some of them have this hate for Riley. They forget about what he did for them and the comments they make, but they're not like the vocal minority that get really stupid. So, I mean, you know, Oklahoma's all right. I mean, you know, it'll go away eventually. Maybe 10, 12 years from now, some of these nutcases will forget that Lincoln Riley left them, and they'll be better. Maybe they'll seek some therapy. They'll be okay. But, I mean, the majority of Oklahoma fans are great.
You imagine if Riley brings a national championship to USC, you think they'll lose it?
Well, let's win a Big Ten championship first, and then we'll start talking about national championships. All right?
Well, but I'm just saying if you would
yeah.
one of those to us.
Absolutely, Rodolfo. Great call. Fight on, man. Thank you so much. I hope your 34-21 comes true. We got to get out of here. Thank you for calling in.
Too. I know that's a big reach, but you know what? Might as well go big or go home.
Gotta go big. Gotta dream big.
I like it.
All right. Fight on, Rodolfo. Appreciate you. All right. Prediction time. What do you got for us?
All right, man. I think this game is going to be very similar to the Washington game from last year. I think Riley's going to come out, pull off stops. He's going to use his mind to use the aggressiveness of this Penn State defense against themselves. And I got SC, if they're able to protect and keep the quarterback upright, winning this game 31-21 in the Collie.
Ooh, that's really close to mine.
That's my prediction, man.
I got 27-21 USC in the Coliseum. 6-point win. SC gets out of there. I think that we dictate. I don't know why, but I think we dictate this game. I think the defense plays better, and I think the offense plays 4 quarters. I think at home, you know, some of these our losses are slow starts. They've happened, but we're at home, and even though we started slow against Wisconsin, this team has yet to show us 4 quarters. And if there's ever been a game, Trojans, we need 4 quarters. It will be in this game. And so if they can mitigate The big key here also is can they take care of the ball? Are they going to turn the ball over?
Can't have any turnovers.
I don't care what game plan Riley has set up. I don't care how good our defense is playing. If we keep fumbling and throwing interceptions, we will not be at a team as well disciplined and as talented as Penn State. Period. But if we play a clean game, and Lincoln Riley throws some wrinkles out there, he's going to. I mean, not like Penn State isn't either. And we can contain their tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's basically their passing game. So I mean, Katron Allen has been the backup. Singleton is back and healthy. That's scary. Great running game. But as a lot of people have said, their offensive line isn't anything to write home about. And I'm not sure, but I believe their right tackle is out. So I mean, this is going to be a good game. And I can't remember. Do you remember who it was? Preston, who said that their offense hasn't exactly been lighting up the scoreboard, which is also true. I mean, UCLA.
I think Adam talked about that. They're around 27 points a game.
Yeah, it was Adam. And so, I mean, they scored 27 on a hapless UCLA, a rudderless ship that's UCLA, where we basically took their DC. We took two of their best defensive players, and then they're left with what they have. And they only scored 27 points. Listen, Preston, we're going to get out of here, but we have one more call from a very special caller. I know the phone number. What's up? How you doing? Joey, introduce yourself.
Well, I just want to say, fight on, let's go Mountaineers. But you said something a while ago, caller before last, Tim. You said the referees have one job. And I wish that was true, but unfortunately they have a couple of jobs. They're their State Farm agent Monday through Friday, and then they referee a game on Saturday. And until we have full-time refs in college football, there's going to be some crappy calls. I'll say crappy. There's going to be some crappy calls.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the bang really, those aren't the ones. I mean, I'm truly not complaining about one PI is called, the other one's not called. We're not even talking about the delay a game or really spotted that ball in the Michigan game. All those games on the top. I'm talking about the league office giving some crap excuse saying, well, we think he scored. And you know what? That's good enough for us. That's literally not the rule. And they know it, and we know it. And those people in that booth have one job, and they know. That's what I meant, Joey, is they're not on the field calling out. Yeah, all they're doing is say, where's the ball? Did the ball do this? Do we have video evidence the ball did this? That's all they have to do. And they couldn't see the ball. So they had to say the play stands. They can't say either way, so it stands. This is the first time I've ever in pro or in college seen a play where there's no video evidence where they go, oh, we think he scored. All right, touchdown. The other team wins. That's just crazy to me.
So I know you're trying to get off the air, so I'm not going to keep you up, but I will say this one thing. As somebody that's faced Penn State, West Virginia faced Penn State first game of the season, we had we got in our own head, and they whooped us pretty good in Morgantown. But they're a daggone good team, and their defense is really, really solid. So I apologize. I can't give USC a win in this Saturday. I wish I could, but I feel like Penn State's just a better team right now, and USC's not done as good this year as I felt like they should have. I really felt like that you guys had a team that was going to be competing in the Big Ten, and I'm just not seeing that out of you. But I root for USC. I do. I'd much rather see you guys win the Big Ten than Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State or somebody. Believe me. So but anyway, I'll let you get off here. I know you're trying to get out there, and you guys have a great night and a great show, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you. Preston's here. He's the co-host as well. So thank you, Preston. Thank you, Joey. Really appreciate it. Great call. Make sure, Joey does a lot of stuff over on the Voice of College Football at the West Virginia channel. All right, we are going to get out of here. Just want to say thank you to Roy Banuelos and Gigs for Squid. Thank you guys so much for your super chats. Thank you to the stars of the show. You guys are the stars of the show. Thank you to Joey, just called in, Rodolfo, Matthew, Adam, Robbie, Polly Walnuts, and then Gary Dana Point, and then Caden, the man from somewhere in Ohio. I think he said Columbus. So appreciate all of you guys calling in. Oh, and thank you to Gabe, and thank you so much because Gabe, I know you guys do this, but on Twitter, a lot of guys are, and I should have looked. I'm going to take a second to thank these guys. Thank you to the guys on Twitter that retweeted our show, who are, I want to make sure I give them credit because I don't want to get off the air without doing that. Thank you to Gil Martin. Also, you guys check him out. And then this guy named Preston, he retweeted Gabe, and then also Rusty over at Arrogant Nation. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate all of you guys and your support. Appreciate all the callers. Appreciate all of you guys to be here. And as always, I've done a terrible job as a host. If you're on Twitter right now, go ahead, please, and give Preston and myself a follow. If you're here on YouTube, we really appreciate a like and a subscribe. We could really use a couple of subscriptions from you guys right now. I'm trying to catch Gabe. I'm only like 3,000 or 4,000 away. All right. So appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. I'm heading off to the Bosco homecoming game against Santa Margarita. I'm probably gonna be late unless I get there in a half hour. So fight on, everybody. Let's hope USC can play 4 quarters, right, Preston? They played 4 quarters, and I'm telling you, they got the W. Fight on, everybody. We'll see you guys after the game. Oh, sorry. Right after the game, Preston, right here. We're going to do a post-game show. And then also next Wednesday, we're moving the call-in show, and we finally have a home. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. I know we keep moving it around, and people keep DMing me saying they don't know where we're going. That's been my fault. But it's going to be Wednesday from now on, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. And then tomorrow, right after the game, catch Preston. I'll be joining him probably about 20 to 30 minutes after the show starts. All right. Fight on, you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.